And Bitcoin will potentially solve all that. There
Bitcoin
it is.
solves all that.
You have all that property, and now everyone can access it. And it's now so clear to you that this is the solution. And again, it's tech, so it works. So give the people the fire and let them use it. And this
Bitcoin is fire. Bitcoin is electricity, right? Bitcoin is not a speculative, uncorrelated asset, right? So when people get beyond that, what's going on right now, Brian, is that as the U.S. dollar expands, and let's say we're devaluing the dollar 20% a year, maybe, and we're going to keep doing it. All these strong currencies are also devaluing at 20% a year against scarce assets. That's why you have asset bubbles. That's why housing is up 25% in the U.S. year over year. That's why the S&P is up 35% or 38% year over year. That's why the S&P had 7 consecutive days of all-time highs and 7 consecutive months of all-time highs, and looks like this. There is no price discovery in bonds. There is no price discovery in stocks. There is no price discovery in property. As that's happening, other weaker currencies are falling faster. So there's a set of currencies that are devaluing 20% against scarce assets. They're the good ones. There's another set devaluing 40% a year against scarce assets. They're the middling ones. The weak ones are falling 80% versus scarce assets. That's where you've got hyperinflation. You can see that happening. All of those countries are going to lose their currency privileges. Their local currencies are literally collapsing. In El Salvador, their currency collapsed after the civil war 20 years ago. They had to dollarize. Okay, well, nice idea, let's dollarize. Okay, fine. If I don't have a bank, how do I get dollars? Yeah, right. You remember the history of the Chesapeake Bay is the settlers came here in the 1600s. They didn't have pounds. They didn't have currency. They used bales of tobacco as their currency, right? When you don't have dollars and you can't manufacture dollars, what are you trading? Seashells, tobacco? What? Okay, so what's going on here? What's going to happen? This is the end game. Everybody has an Android phone. It costs $50. If they're rich, they have an iPhone. The wealthy have an iPhone. The working class and the poor have an Android phone. You've got a digital wallet, and you've got digital currency in it. The digital currency is not going to be the Zimbabwe dollar. It's not going to be the Bolivar. The digital currency is going to be the U.S. dollar. Everywhere in the world where U.S. is the predominant political influence, the Chinese would like it to be the CNY. They'd like it to be the RMB if they could. So you're going to see a little struggle between digital currencies in the China sphere of influence versus digital currencies in the Western sphere of influence. People are going to use those dollars to buy coffee. They need digital ones. So they'll either be stable coins running on a crypto network like a Tether, or there'll be a digital dollar that came through a centralized solution. El Salvador legitimized Bitcoin as tender so you could swap between Bitcoin and dollars using the El Salvador banking system, and that's how they do it. But everybody's going to have that digital wallet, and you're going to have digital currency, which is like a dollar or CNY or euro, or maybe the yen. There's only going to be about a dozen. The world only really needs a dozen strong currencies, and most of them, I could argue that every Western currency is pretty much pegged to the dollar. Even the CNY, Brian, is pegged to the dollar. It's pegged to the dollar. Everything is pegged to the dollar. And so the US dollar will be the world's reserve currency. It's going to move on these crypto Bitcoin rails. And then the underlying, the other part is going to be digital assets. People want to hold digital currency and digital asset. The assets hold their value. The currencies devalue 1 or 2% a month if they're good. They devalue faster. But when you devalue the currency 85% a year, everybody wants to get rid of it. In Venezuela, they want to trade their bolivars for dollars, and then they'll want to trade their dollars for Bitcoin.
Right.
If you need to spend the money in the next 12 months, you're going to hold currency. If you need to hold the money for the next 12 years or for the next 100 years and give it to your children and your children's children, you need property. So call it an asset, property. So what you're going to see is mobile devices with the currency in one layer, and then property or asset in the other layer. Bitcoin is the king of the assets because it's the most secure, most likely, it's got the strongest integrity, the greatest durability over the next century. The US dollar is the king of the currencies. It is the world's reserve currency. Most of the world, you're talking billions of people in South Africa, in South America, in Asia, in Africa, they're going to want to flip to the dollar and the Bitcoin. That's the 21st century ecosystem. And they'll augment those wallets with some other assets. If you can hold an equity token or an Apple stock or whatever, you love it. If you hold some rights and privileges, you will. And they'll want to hold maybe some local currencies. If by law I have to pay my taxes in euros or pounds,